Hello, Brick Sculptors, and welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and today I want to discuss water tips, tricks, and techniques. So this first layout I have for you here is kind of a beach on maybe a desert island, and I just want to go through some of the techniques I use to make things look a little bit more realistic in LEGO MOCs. Now, first thing, and I'm sure you've seen this technique before because there's a million videos on it out there, but we show depth here by putting different color plates underneath the trans light blue plates. You can also do trans clear plates on top. Some people do a layer of trans clear in between the trans blue and the color below. Lots of different ways you can do that. This is a fairly basic setup here. It's not too difficult to do. I left this edge piece blank so you can kind of see the transition I did. You got some dark tan here under this first layer of water, some regular blue, and then some dark blue. You could even go into black if you want. You could probably do a different layer of blue in between these if you wanted, but don't want to make it too complicated for this video. I also threw some waves out in here. The way I do that, I just kind of build an angle. I use a mix of trans blue cheese slopes and clear cheese slopes, and I made these pretty mild waves. I tend to put more of them up where the waves are actually breaking on the beach, and a few out here. You could definitely make these taller. You could have more of them if you want to make it look real choppy, but I want it to be kind of a calm beach with not a lot of waves crashing. I added some stone jetties in here as well, maybe a larger stone here and then kind of a piece jetting out. And the way I do this, I just use a mix of gray pieces. The majority of what I use are going to be these gray 1x2 slopes, and they work really well because you can kind of overlap them and just stack up underneath them. And I mix those with lots of gray cheese wedges and other pieces, and just gives a really nice rocky texture. You can also put other colors in there too if you want to make it a little bit more interesting looking, but I just did the light gray on this one. As for the sand, I like to do a dark tan layer first and then work into the tan. That kind of shows that the water came up, got all this wet, and then receded. So it gives it a nice look of waves coming in there as well on the beach. So this is a tool that I've developed to kind of see what the colors will look like underneath your trans light blue. You could also make this tool better if you had a couple of clear ones on here and a couple of dark trans blue as well. But this is just designed so you can kind of see and visualize the colors. You also could potentially take one of these if you build it the right way, pull a piece off, take this into your MOC and hold it up to see if it's the color that you want. And you can also work on transitions this way, showing going from light to dark. These probably don't go this way, but you could go from this to brown, brown to black, dark gray to black. The greens are more for like a swampier water, going from dark green, green, bright green, and sand green here into you got your blues, dark blue, blue, then your lighter blues here. But just a good way to visualize it. So you can make some of these up just so you can kind of get an idea of what the color is actually going to look like when you have the trans over it. So this is another little beach I created, and I wanted to kind of show some different elevation heights on this. So one thing I see people do in MOCs a lot that I don't like to see is they'll make the sand up above the layer of water. So it'll look kind of like this. And it's not super realistic. Typically on a beach, it'll be a real smooth flow from water into sand. Now, if you're adding grass, you could do a lip like this, and I think it looks a lot better then. So you've got my sand underneath the water here. Here's a picture of what this base plate looked like before I put the water and everything else on top of it. But you can see this transition looks good because it goes to plant life and grass. On this side, I made kind of an embankment out of mud. If you're doing a river or a lake, that's real common where you have this embankment. Maybe you got some sticks and roots sticking out, and and then kind of works up into some plant life there, but you get kind of that undercut where it's eroding away at the bank. But if you are doing sand, a smooth transition I think works a lot better. So in this MOC here, I did up some creek beds, and I wanted to kind of show these are all the same creek bed. I made kind of the same detail on each one, but I wanted to show how you can make it go from dry to a little bit of flow to a full-blown stream. And I used the same technique on all of these. I just basically put my trans blue over the top of this pebbled texture. This pebbled texture is just a mixture of medium nougat, dark tan, light gray, dark gray, a little bit of dark orange, and just mixture of square 1x1 plates, 1x1 rounds, tile 1x1 round, tile, these little curved ones, some cheese slopes in there. Just a whole mixture of colors and textures to make it look like a whole bunch of rocks in a creek bed. On each of these I put a log across it, and you put some sticks up on the side of the log, because typically what you'll see is as water flows, it carries branches and they gather when you have a log crossing. So I think that looks really cool to do. Just throw a couple sticks there. For this one here where I have the water trickling down, I used one of these. I think they're from some superhero set, but they're kind of like, they call them energy bursts. But they make for really nice little waterfalls. So I have one of them there. Where I have the water flowing real heavily, I have two of them. And just filled in the whole creek bed there. So lots of different things you can do with that. Add a lot of vegetation around there to kind of cover up the banks and make it look kind of overgrown. I didn't put any trees in this because I wanted you to be able to see it better. Otherwise, I probably would have put some taller trees, but it would really cover the visibility for the video. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool, showing how you can make kind of a creek bed. And you could go as long or as short as you want with this and make it real dried out, a little bit of water, or a full-blown flowing stream. Well, that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found some things in this that may be useful to you in your own MOCs. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, because we're going to do more just like this. And let me know in the comments if you found the piece of sand red hidden in this video. We'll see you next time.